everybody! In today's video, I'm going to be doing a demo of a product that I've used for years and that I've loved for years. It is Tap Plastics Platinum Silicone, and I actually have another video in which I use this product. The video is called How I Make My Clear Silicone Molds, but I just want to get into more detail about this product and really shine a light on it because I love it for so many reasons. There's definitely some cons to it as well, so I'm going to go ahead and break all of that down in the video, and we're going to make some molds, and it should be a pretty good time. So this is the 1 pint kit, and it cost $42.95 on the Tap Plastics website, and the shipping is like $16, so you're paying almost $60 for this 16-ounce kit, and that is a lot. It really is. I still think it's worth it though. Like, one of the cons is definitely the price. This is way expensive, especially compared to something like this Mold Star 15 product. This 2-pound kit is $35, so it's $35 for this much versus $42 for this much, so that's definitely a big difference. I use them for different things though. The Mold Star I like for bigger molds and for like soap molds and stuff like that, so I definitely use the Mold Star a lot. For the Tap Plastics Platinum Silicone, I tend to make smaller molds because of the price. It's worth it though, and I'm gonna break down why. So the reason that I even started using this stuff and came across it is because probably about 7 years ago, I want to say, I bought my first clear molds on Etsy, and I actually found one. This is so old. It's like 7 years old at this point. But I came across a seller on Etsy who was making these clear silicone molds, and I completely fell in love with them, and then she quit selling them, and I was like, oh dang, like I want more molds made with this stuff. And while it's not the same silicone, this stuff is better. Yeah, it is what it is. With this stuff, like it's nice and all, but it's very firm, as opposed to this stuff made with, or molds made with the Tap Plastics. It's very soft and it's very squishy. So it's just definitely a very different quality for sure. So one of the pros of this product is that it lasts a long time. And what I mean by that is that it holds its shine for a longer time than the cheaper stuff. So while the Mold Star definitely costs less, it dulls out quicker. And what I mean is, like, you can look inside these molds and you can see how shiny they are. The Mold Star stuff, this lovely sea green colored stuff, it will lose its shine eventually, and it will lose its shine much quicker than this higher quality stuff. That's something I've learned over the course of, I don't know, the past few months using this product. So this one definitely will stay shiny for years, for literal years. But the thing about that is, and this takes us right into a con, it shrinks a lot. These used to be the same size, and this one is clearly a lot smaller. It's just the silicone shrinks a lot. It's still shiny though, is the thing. I don't think the light's picking up on that too well. The inside of this mold that's years old and has shrunk and everything, it's still shiny. So while this costs more in the long run, it will last you longer. Another pro is that it's very low viscosity. Very low viscosity. I mean, these bottles are almost empty. We're gonna probably finish them out. I don't know if you can see that. It's a very thin silicone product, which means you're gonna have very few bubbles. They're very good about rising to the surface. See, like even with this mold, this wasn't put in a vacuum chamber or anything. There's definitely a few micro bubbles here or there, but overall it's pretty clear. And that's another pro, is that it's a very translucent product. And we're actually going to be making a flower mold. I love making the flower molds with this product because you can really see inside the mold and get all the nooks and crannies, and your finished pieces pop out really beautifully. I sell these rose molds on Etsy. It's a different mold. Actually, I have this one there too now, but I digress. They always get good reviews. They consistently get good reviews, and people will come back and buy more. So that's a pro. All right, so as far as the cons, like I said, it shrinks a lot, it's expensive, it's also very temperamental to sulfur. The thing about platinum silicones is that sulfur, like any products containing sulfur, like if there's a clay with sulfur or wooden sticks have it, it will inhibit the cure. And there's varying degrees of like temperamentalness with the platinum silicone, like the mold star, for example, this is not very sensitive at all. You're not supposed to use wood stir sticks. I've had people tell me though, like, oh, I used a wood stir stick and it was just fine. And while that's all good and well, you cannot do that with this. It is extraordinarily temperamental. It'll have a sticky mess if you try and use a wood stir stick, if you try and stir it in paper, if you try and use the wrong tape or clay. You cannot mess around with this stuff. You have to adhere to those directions. This stuff, it's very, very like workable. I've even measured incorrectly with this stuff and it's still cured okay. Yeah, with this stuff, no. You need to measure precisely. You need to not use sulfur. You need to make sure that you do what you need to do. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and start to read what's like all the directions and all this information are on the bottles. So we'll go ahead and check all that out. Okay, so read side A for instructions. Yeah, we'll get there. Okay, materials to avoid when working with platinum cure silicone. They can prevent the silicone from curing. Tin containing compounds such as tin cure silicone, sulfur or nitrogen compounds containing compounds such as, what? Sulfur or nitrogen compounds containing compounds, okay, such as clay, latex, wood, PVC, neoprene, rubber, epoxy. The following common items: scotch tape, electrical tape, some masking tapes. All right. So on this side we have the properties, and that's the viscosity. One of the pros is definitely low viscosity. Like I said earlier, the mixing time is a minute. I will agree with that. You have to get it mixed up pretty quickly. Working time 15 to 18 minutes at 73 degrees. I don't get 15 to 18 minutes out of it, and the house is probably usually around like 76 degrees. I would say I get a good like 7 minutes max before it starts really thickening up. So the cure time 24 hours. I would say within a couple of hours, honestly. Mine tend to be fully cured, like enough to like start working with. Shore hardness, it's a very soft, tensile strength, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's relevant to you. It is not relevant to me. So we'll go ahead and get all this literature read. Tap platinum silicone is a low viscosity, 2-part platinum cure silicone, which vulcanizes at room temperature. Super soft and flexible, totally agree. Translucent, allowing flexibility of master part as silicone is poured. Yep, like I said, like with the flour, you can actually see through the mold. It makes it easier to work with. Very high chemical resistance, and is compatible with plaster, polyurethane, epoxy, and polyester resins. High dimensional stability and good temperature and mechanical resistance. Okay, excellent non-stick properties. Okay, that's not really relevant. Applications include mold making for models with deep undercuts and fine details, mechanical uses, electronics, prosthetics, and orthotics due to its softness, ease of use, and high tear resistance. That's not relevant to us. I just think that's pretty cool. All right. So we're going to get the directions read, and then we'll start getting all of our mold stuff situated, and then we'll make some molds. Okay, so we're going to mix equal parts of by volume of side A and side B. And for this stuff, I like to use one of these. I got it at Walmart. I like it. It's marked off very well. The bottom is flat. For when mixing like larger amounts, like I said though, with this stuff, I tend to mix smaller amounts. And with that, I'll just use just a little like resin measuring cup for making the smaller molds. So we're gonna make a few molds, so I'm gonna be using this today, and I'll leave the link for all the relevant stuff in the description area below. Okay, so by volume, mix side A, side B, mix thoroughly but do not whip to create excess bubbles. For best results after mixing, pour into a second container and continue mixing, scraping the sides. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I've been using this stuff for years. I've never done that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not crazy about that step when resins and stuff like that suggested anyways. It's a pain in the butt moving the material from one cup to another, getting all of it. It doubles your amount of cleanup. I'm not doing it. Sorry. I try and be a good sport, but I'm not with this. Okay, do not mix in paper cups or stir with wood stir sticks. They can cause inhibition of the cure. They will cause inhibition. Pour mixture in a corner of container, allowing fluid to slowly rise around the part. You have approximately 15 minutes work time. Silicone sets in about 2 hours and is fully cured in 24. To make a blanket mold, we're not doing that. Because of the low viscosity, there is seldom need to de-air the silicone by use of a vacuum. Yeah, you can if you want to. You don't really need to. Okay, platinum silicones are subject to an inhibition from sulfur-containing materials. Always test a small area before beginning project. See side B label for partial, so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So the stuff that I am going to be making a mold of today is I made this little hexagon deal. I kept trying to find a decent hexagon mold online. I could not find what I was looking for, so I made this one out of an ice mold and like glazed it. I have this little door. This little door was supposed to be a magnet. It has all kinds of like rough details, so I figured that would be just a cool thing to use. It was supposed to be a magnet, but when I drilled into it to put the magnet, the resin did something weird. This was liquid diamonds. When I was experimenting with liquid diamonds, it did this weird, like, I think that's called amine blush. I don't know. It ruined my project. So now we're going to make a mold with it. We're going to make a flower. And then this is a star that I made with an ice mold, and then I glazed with spray paint, which is something I kind of do a lot. I actually glazed this flower with spray paint too, and the side of this. If you're curious about that, I made a tutorial about it. Go ahead and go check that out. All right. So what I'm going to do is, or what I'm going to be using is this tile I got from a home improvement store, and then some sulfur-free clay. I know a lot of people will make molds with tape and cookie cutters. I do have cutters, but yeah, I don't use the tape. Like there's like a method with tape and then you glue around it. I'm not going to do that. What's really interesting is the Tap Plastics tutorial, the platinum silicone tutorial, is what taught me how to use the clay. Because I got the product and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, how do I use this product? Like, what do I do? And they have some tutorials, and they use clay, and I've just done it ever since. This is sulfur-free clay. It is plastilina. You can get it at Hobby Lobby. You can get it at craft stores. I've even seen it at Walmart. It's super cheap. It is $3.69 for what was a really good sized chunk. You can use it over and over. And the way I flattened it, I mean, you can do anything. You could probably use a cup. You could use a rolling pin. I have a clay rolling machine. I use this thing all the time. I'll leave a link for that in the description area below. It's like a pasta roller, pretty much. So I just took some of the sulfur-free clay and I rolled it out, and here we are. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pieces and I'm going to squish them into the clay. I'm going to handle them with a microfiber cloth. And that's because with liquid silicones, if there's any like fingerprints on there or anything, it will show up in the finished piece. If I just left a big huge fingerprint here and then made the mold, it would be in the mold. So I'm gonna make sure I got all my little prints off there. And then I'm just gonna stick it like right there. All right, and then I'm gonna squeeze it into the clay. And this is gonna help me have a nice, crisp, clean line when we take the mold out. There won't be any cleanup involved, like cutting around the mold. So that's always nice. Then I'm gonna find my appropriate cutter size. And I'm gonna squeeze it into my clay. Then I'm just gonna kind of come around the sides, ensure that there's good contact there. Okay, I'm gonna take the door. I'm not really worried about getting fingerprints on the door because it's so like, it has like a wood kind of texture. So I'm just gonna take that. I'm just gonna probably put that right there. Okay, I'm gonna go and grab another cutter real quick. That's the appropriate size for this, and then I'll be back. Okay, I got the last cutter around my rose mold. Now I'm gonna get ready to measure and mix this stuff. It is completely odorless. Every silicone that I've encountered is completely odorless. You generally do not need a respirator with this stuff. It's not kicking off any fumes or anything like that. It's inert. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure this out. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. A question I've gotten before is how do you know how much like resin or silicone or whatever to use? A good way to do that is rice. You can take dried rice and you can pour it in and then take the rice and then pour it in here and measure it. I actually do a demonstration of that in my stone coat tutorial. I made a Batman tray with stone coat resin and did that as like a little demo with the rice, so you can go and check that out. Okay. So I think I'm gonna go 2 ounces and 4 ounces, or yeah, 2 ounces of each, which should probably polish out the bottle. I'm at the very end of this product. I have more. This is how it comes when you order it. It's all wrapped up like so. This should be enough in here. I guess we're gonna find out, huh? All right, so I'm gonna mix it up with, I just have a metal knife I use for my mold stuff. It's just, I don't use it for food anymore. I've put it aside. I use it for mold making. As previously stated, you cannot use wood sticks with this. All right, so I'm gonna start with my side A. I'm gonna get down at eye level with it. I know you can't see me doing that, but that is a thing that is happening. It's a nice thin product. Oh dang, I had just enough. As previously stated, be as precise as you possibly can with this product. It is temperamental. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to my side B, and then I'm gonna start to mix. Like we read and like I said, it sets up pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm just gonna hop right on into it once I get it measured. I have a little bit less of that in this bottle, so now I'm gonna go ahead and freak out. Side B, ah! Okay. Oh, it's actually pretty close. Ah, there's probably enough in there. Ah, okay. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing. Sorry for that minor freak out. I should have prepared for that better. I think there actually is enough in there in the other one if I would have waited just a little bit, but yeah, okay, here we are, you know. All right, so it's still pretty liquidy. I've been stirring probably about 30 seconds now. It's been about a minute. I'm hitting the point where it is starting to thicken up on me just a little tiny bit. So now we're gonna go ahead and get it into our molds. Dude, my hands are like coated in silicone now. And I'll come back and fill them up just a little bit more. I just want to make sure that I have enough. Oh, I think I might have more than enough. All right. All right, so I definitely made a little too much. It's not bad though. Okay, so now I'm going to go and grab a torch real quick and sweep it across the top just so I can get some of those bubbles. I'll be right back. So I'm going to take a torch. I should probably put more stuff in. And I'm going to sweep it across the top, and it's just going to pop those surface bubbles. It would be no harm, no foul if we left those bubbles, but you know, you might as well pop them with a lighter or a torch, or just leave them. Do what you want to do. So I'll see you in a couple of hours. All right, so it's been a few hours. It's actually been closer to 4 hours. So these are definitely cured. So let's go ahead and pop them out and see what they look like. So I'm gonna start with the door. All right. So here's what the back looks like. We got a pretty clean line, which is a little bit surprising. I was expecting that to get a little bit wonky. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. All right. All right, so let me actually grab a black glove. Here we go. Okay, so that's what this one's looking like. The lines aren't as clean as I would like, but I'll just take a little pair of scissors and kind of just snip along the sides. That's all good and well, but looks good. All right, now we'll do the star. Oh, I did not put that one in deep enough, and that one's actually going to need a little bit of cleanup. Maybe I can just, oh, that's too bad. Actually, there we go, look at that. I can't believe I didn't push that one in far enough. It looks like I hardly pushed it in at all. Well, that's that. If I had put the piece in firmer, that would not be a thing that's happening, but here we are. Okay. Now we'll move on to the hexagon. Okay, that one did get pushed in far enough. You see how there's that nice clean line, so that's good. I got one right. We'll see how the rose looks. There you go, look at that nice clean line. Yay, I finally have a hexagon mold. All right, so now the rose. All right, not bad. Could use a little bit of cleanup, but not much. All right, and there you have it. So I suppose that concludes this video. Everything turned out all right. The star, I should have pushed it farther in the clay. The door came out better than I thought, and the hexagon came out perfect. So yeah, I guess that's that. I thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing and all those things that go with YouTube. I hope you're holding up okay in all of this. I'm doing okay. You know, there's good days and bad days. One day this pandemic will be over, but for now we're still stuck in it, and I hope you're hanging in there. So take care.